In this tutorial video, we're going to see how to use arithmetic operators. Now, arithmetic operators are exactly like the ones in mathematics. So, for instance, we have our additive operator here, subtraction, multiplication, division, and the one that you may never have heard of is called the remainder operator. But we'll get to that in a few moments. Let's start by looking at the additive operator. We can basically create two variables, so in this example x and y, both of them are equal to 2, and then we create a third variable and we can do the sum of x and y. So z equals x plus y, and obviously z would be equal to 4. So it's the same principle for all of them. So let's take a look at the remainder operator here that you may not have heard of. Basically, the remainder operator lets you calculate the remainder of a division. So for instance, if we had x equals 11 and y equals 3, and then we divided x by y, so dividing 11 by 3, we all know that the answer would be 3. What the remainder operator is going to do is going to calculate the remainder of that division. So 11 by 3 is 3, so 3 times 3, 9. And to get to 11, there's a remainder of 2. So z would be equal to 2. In the next step, I'm going to show you how to apply these, so you'll get a better idea of how they actually work. So please meet me in the next step. Now that we've seen the different kinds of arithmetic operators in Java, let's try and apply them to a practical example. Now, in Java, there are two different ways of doing calculations. The easiest way would be to create a single variable. So let's call it x, for example. And then within that variable, we would do our calculation. So x equals, let's say, 4 plus 6, and then we want to print that result out. So system.out.print, and we want to print out the x variable, so like so. So let's test that out, and we should get 10, and as you can see, it displays 10 as a result. So that's the easiest way of doing calculations. The second way would be to do like you saw in the table that I showed you in the step before, and that would be to create several variables. So let's do that right now. So let's say we'll keep x, and let's add y and z, for example. So we'll give x a value of 5 or 10, so 10, and then y a value of 5, and now z will be the result of x and y, so depending what operator we use. So let's say we want to add x and y together, x plus y, and again we want to display the result, so system.out.print, and we want to print out z. Let's test that out, and as you can see, we get 15. So it's the same principle for each operator. Or if we wanted to do a different calculation, we can just change the operator here. So let's say division, should get 2, as you can see. For the remainder operator, for those of you that didn't really understand it, as I said, let's say we have x equals 11, for example, and y equals 3. So as I said, this is the remainder operator, the percentage sign. So as I said, the remainder operator calculates the remainder between the division of your calculation. So we all know that 3 goes into 11 3 times. So 3 times 3 would be 9. And to get to 11, you would have a remainder of 2. So this calculation will calculate that remainder of 2. So let's test that out. And as you can see, it's 2. Now, another important thing that I would like to show you is, let's say we want to divide x by y. We all know that 11 divided by 3 should be 3 point something. So if we test this as it currently is, you'll see that Eclipse gives you a result of 3. Now, we all know that's not correct, and you're probably wondering why it's not showing you a decimal result. Well, that's because at the very beginning, when we created our variables, we determined that our variables would be int. Now, if you remember to the previous video, int, the int variable is for whole numbers only. So what we need to do is change int to double, and double allows you to assign decimal numbers to your variables. So if we test this now by changing int to double, you'll see that the result is now the correct one, 3.6666665. So now you know how to do basic calculations in Java.